If you're wondering how to organize unique live events that pack a house that people look forward to and they tell their friends about, then tonight's show is one for you. You're watching YFE Chat Live, the live show that happens every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Let's go ahead and get started. Hi everyone, again you're watching YFE Chat Live. Tonight's episode is episode 114 and it's all about event production with Morning Gloryville's Glory agent, Annie Fabricant. This was an event, a big event that I found out about by watching the Wall Street Journal live, which is on my Apple TV. I was just telling Annie about this, and the clip came up with the segment feature on Morning Gloryville, and I guess it started out of London. Annie brought it over to New York City, so she's going to tell us all about the concept because it's very unique. Again, like I said at the very beginning, it's one that packs a house, and it's something that people really do look forward to. So we're going to welcome her on in just a moment. But before we do that, tonight's episode is brought to you by MailChimp. MailChimp is the best way to design, send, and share email newsletters. You can get started today at MailChimp.com for free. And of course, don't forget to sign up for our mailing list at yfe.me/mailed because that is the best way to stay in the loop with everything young female entrepreneurs. I did not introduce myself at the beginning. I apologize. My name is Jennifer Dono. You can go ahead and tweet me using @JenniferDono while we're going through this. Use the hashtag YFEChat to stay connected with other young female entrepreneurs during the next 30 minutes. Tweet your takeaways. And then, of course, our guest's Twitter handle will be right below this as well. So let's go ahead and bring Annie on. Annie, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
So
I'm happy to be here.
Like I said, this is a unique concept of Morning Gloryville, New York City. Can you tell us a little bit about the origination of, is that a word, origination? how the event originated?
Right. So the event originated in London a year ago, almost exactly. Last Wednesday, in fact, was the 1-year anniversary of Morning Gloryville in London. And yeah, with the concept, the idea was conceived by Samantha Moyer, the founder, and her friend Nico, who said he left in January to pursue his career focused on rolfing and bodyworking. So that was the first event a year ago last May, and it just has grown steadily since then. And the last few months, they've seen over 800 people come through the door for each event. It's a monthly event.
So now I want to back up and bring it back to what this is that makes it so unique and exciting. You, on your Facebook page, it says it's an immersive morning dance experience for those who dare to start their day in style, only for the brave. So what exactly does that mean?
So it means that people come in the morning, they're open-minded enough to come and try something new. So it is an immersive early morning dance parade that happens on a Wednesday before people go to work, 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. But more than just a sort of dance party, this is really a wholehearted movement challenging societal norms, early morning culture, traditional clubbing culture. It's like turning clubbing on its head. So it's really bringing conscious clubbing and conscious socializing to the world stage. So it's really like social transformation. So we create the conditions and the space for people to really relax. There's no drugs or alcohol. They're completely sober, and they're probably a bit grumpy. Most people don't like mornings. Let's face it. And with the Morning Glory unique ingredients and our real emphasis on making people feel, relaxed and able to shake off their inhibitions, people can really rediscover their true inner selves and unleash them, and therefore they feel empowered by that. And it's getting adults to sort of to discover natural highs and pure fun and playfulness and yeah, and it's also to do with connecting with people from all different backgrounds and ages and professions, because we are completely inclusive. We really value inclusivity.
Well, I want to talk about that since you mentioned it. I mean, you said it's people of all different backgrounds. And on this Wall Street Journal feature that they did on you, they interviewed a number of people that were all, I mean, and even Shape.com did the same thing. They interviewed a few different people. And it was entrepreneurs. It was people that worked. I think one of them was saying that she was going off to the United Nations afterwards for a meeting. Yeah, otherwise she would have painted her face. But see, what interested me in this event was that we've had in the past Susie Mayan, who does Mai Tai event, and it's all about kiteboarding. She's a professional kiteboarder, and she brings venture capitalists together to kiteboard. So it's about a common interest more so than who you are, what you do for work. You gather around something that you share a common value in, and you celebrate that. And I love that, because I'm so sick and tired of going out to events to meet people, and it's all about, like, if you're an entrepreneur, you go to this event. It's more professional, and I feel like if you go to events or you produce something like this where it's more around an interest or a bigger why than just networking, I think you gain so much more from it. So anyway, I'm sorry for just like bombarding that, but that's what I was really excited about, was that it was something more than just a professional networking event. So going back, Annie, what was the process like of bringing this event over from London? I mean, it's not just in New York City, it's all around the world.
Right, not quite yet though. Like, New York was the first market, the first city to launch outside London.
Really? Oh my gosh! So this is only just starting for the last month, then?
Right. So in New York, our May 7th event was our launch event. That was our first event, and the next one's coming up June 18th. And so we did actually plan to launch in June, along with all these other cities that we had, like 12 other cities. We've got Barcelona, Amsterdam, Paris, Zagreb, in the US, San Francisco, Tokyo, Perth, Sydney. So all of them are launching next month and in July, and then a bunch of other cities like on the map too. But my event producer here and I, Harry and I, we were just getting feedback and just being here on the ground. We just really felt like there was no point hanging around. We really just felt like just going for it. We were getting so much positive feedback just from people we were speaking to that were in that world, maybe once put in that world, conscious dance community or the holistic health, or just generally open-minded New Yorkers who just love great ideas. So yeah, and bringing it here, it did demand obviously quite a bit of sensitivity, because on one hand you've got to be sensitive to what the London team have created, the unique ingredients, and really maintaining that and recognizing the value in all of them, and all the learnings they've had. It's quite interesting that you see all this great feedback and response from the people that come, but they're really behind the scenes, the team are really opening and expanding their own minds and hearts just from being on the other side of things. So being sensitive to that, but then obviously in every city that it launches, you do have to obviously be sensitive to the culture and the whole vibration, of the city. So it's combining the two. So, I mean,
logistically then, I agree. It's New York feels like the logical or the next step past London. It feels like that would be the city, like you said, open-minded, holistic type people, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But as far as the logistics go, Samantha is the founder, right? That's her name?
That's right.
So did you know Samantha personally, or is this something you went to her and said, I need to bring this to New York City? I mean, what did that look like?
Right. So no, I didn't know her personally. I went to London in last December. I always go back around Christmas time to see family. And a friend of mine invited me invited me to this event, and I was a little skeptical as most people. I was curious, mostly curious, maybe a little bit skeptical. I was thinking, like most people, why would people want to get out of bed 2 hours earlier on a freezing cold, damp London morning? And another reason actually that I was a little hesitant was actually I'd just done a week-long silent meditation retreat. So I just thought the last thing I need is a chaotic rave to disturb the peace. But yeah, I was really, really astounded. I've been to plenty of, I've had my days years ago of underground parties and the traditional clubbing and, that kind of everything that goes along with traditional house music things, where people are on drugs and alcohol. And I had to, at the moment I walked in there, I couldn't believe how so many people, each one being sober, could be so relaxed, clearly no like inhibition, no tension. There were no ego, and really everyone was really moving and really getting a workout, I guess, and really dancing. And they were also just looked so happy. Everyone looked really, truly happy. And, however cheesy it may sound, it really felt like a loving, atmosphere of acceptance, so you felt like it. So I thought, my God, I thought this must already be in New York, because New York has everything. And then apparently not. So that's when I reached out to the founder, straight after that event. And then after the New Year vacation, I finally got hold of her and locked it down and got on board here in New York. So that's how it happened.
So now, is this something that you were the first one that approached her, or was this something that she was thinking, I'm going to have to do this soon?
You mean bring it to New York?
Or just to extend it further than just the London? Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, they were seeing such a massive wave of, great feedback and response, both from people that, attending the event, as they call them, citizens, as well as, the press. Pretty much went viral. They jumped on the whole thing from the first to second event. And they were definitely thinking, wow, we need to bring this to the world. We need to, this is a movement of global consciousness, but then, she hadn't really set any plans in place specifically. So when I came along, and then someone else, my partner, Harry, in fact, had reached out separately. That's how we paired together and got it going from there.
Now, did she say, I'm going to need you to do a fee or a franchising kind of a thing, anything like that? Or was it just more of a casual, let's go ahead and try this out in New York?
No, because it's set up for New York like it's been set up for all the other cities. So I'm, as you said, like a glory agent. We're all called glory agents in our respective cities. So it is basically like a franchising. The London team provide, a lot of their, their learnings and their material, and they support, all the glory agents, daily. And basically they put up, for the first few events, they put up 50% of the money, and then some of the profit is shared. So so it's working like that. They've really put a lot of work in getting everybody, the agents connecting and working together as individually and together as a team. And they've set everything up. Works really well, actually.
That's nice. Well, and one of the things that's important when you look at this event is that, like you said, you're a glory agent, and the braving, there's a capital R in whenever the word brave is used.
Right.
I'm assuming to kind of point out the rave and brave. But I think it's interesting. Seth Godin in the book Tribes talks about how important it is to form a solid community by utilizing your own language, creating creating this kind of shared way of speaking to one another. And I feel like you guys have done a fantastic job in that, whereas you could have just started this on your own in New York City.
Right.
But by being part of this larger community, it was already set up so people feel like they already belong to it. So I think I see the importance in that. But as far as going on, like you said, you have another event in June, and this type of a thing, 6:30 a.m., that's really, like you said, it's really freaking early. Who gets up that early to go to a party?
Obviously they do.
Yeah, obviously hundreds of people do. So, I mean, do you see this going mainstream, or do you feel like it's this holistic movement, I guess, stepping back even further from just the raving, being able to have a conscious dance party in the mornings? Do you see that happiness, love, the, kind of like the hippie mentality, do you see that going more into a mainstream audience?
Yeah, completely. I mean, as we already mentioned earlier, it's not just, the hipsters and the Burning Man people that go to this. We've only had one event in New York, but you can see how it's worked out in London. The demographic is widening all the time, but even since a while ago, it was pretty obvious that a lot of people coming had 9-to-5 jobs, because the busiest time during the event is between 7:30 and 8:30. So people had to go to their 9-to-5 job. So it's not all, so yeah, and that's, so
how do you keep, if it goes mainstream, because one of the exciting things about this is kind of like the discovery of this underground rave, like you said, and it almost feels exclusive. Like you have to know someone to know, who knows somebody to know that this is even happening in the first place. So how do you keep it as you go each month and create a new one? How do you keep an event like this fresh?
Right. Well, it's some things we orchestrate, we plan, as in we have like these new DJs, we'll change at least one of the DJs and, shift around some of the, performing acts. But it really is so collaborative. It really, one of the special things about people going into Morning Glory is it's not, they don't walk in and think this is about the Morning Glory people. They think this is about them, it's very much like the experience is driven by the people that come. We just kind of set up the space and the kind of loving, welcoming conditions. So it's really collaborative, and so it's kept. And I mean, if you're going something which is really experiencing such like pure, natural, healthy elation and energy, and I mean, it's got to be exciting every time. And another massive factor is the spontaneity, that there are things, the founder will tell you this, that there are things that happen at each event that are complete surprises for her, and they're just pure magic. There'll just be sudden bursts of activity in a corner of break dancers doing something, or just people being creative. There's this new creative expression happening spontaneously.
Well, I love
at each one.
That spontaneity is definitely something that I think more people could incorporate into events, something that surprises you each time that you go. That's a fantastic piece of advice. Now, as far as the event marketing goes, that like I said, I feel like when I look at it, it seems like a lot of people show up because they heard about it from someone. And now you've received all this crazy amount of press. So I think I read your goal was to double the amount of attendees. I feel like that's going to be something really easy for you to do next time. But going back into how you set up an event like this, I mean, what makes someone come out at 6:30 other than spontaneity and the feeling of elation that you're able to leave with at the end of the day? Is there anything else? I mean, one of the things that you said in the article, or someone mentioned, was that there's a dance team that shows up.
Right.
So there's more orchestration into the event that makes sure that when you leave, you feel happy.
Right. Yeah. It's partly, I mean, as I said, everyone's got to be on a level playing field. So even though, and we got, this guidance from London, they were very specific about this, that, we have professional dancers, or, that I like to call dance catalysts, the really motivating dance team. But it's not just about them being on the stage and everyone being slightly passive and having a spectacle. It's about them being motivated and inspired and entertained by these people dressed up pretty colorfully. But it's also about, the audience coming on stage and joining in and being on the same level. And, similarly, DJs, we don't have like big headliners, although we could. We have great music and great DJs that perform really well, but no one that really steals the show with their name. So I mean, it's a mixture of these things that enrich the experience, it's just driven by a core. I just think society is changing and people are just more and more, they crave human experiences. Going to the gym, say you go to the gym in the morning, that's great, you get a workout, but you don't the fun and the real sense of community feel, which is so much about Morning Glory, is not really there in the gym. So
people crave human experiences. What's a human experience compared to, like you said, people don't want to go to the gym? What's a human experience?
It's basically being a lot of this, not having drugs or alcohol thing is part of this whole consciousness, mindful movement, being present. So then
I would totally agree with you. I feel like that's become so much more mainstream. Some of the things I do today, I'm constantly thinking probably a year ago, I would think of, this is such a hippie thing to do, or I think of it differently. But today, Oprah and all sorts of mainstream people, I feel like, are making it more acceptable to be drugs and alcohol free, to go to yoga, like the things that weren't considered, more granola, I guess, are definitely more cool, I guess.
Exactly. So when you combine that at our events with this whole fostering this atmosphere, which we work hard at with our team, we have people, what we call wake up hugging angels. When people walk in, it's not like they just hand over their ticket. They get welcome, they get hugs. It's like we actually have a team of incognito actors whose job is to just make anyone who looks uncomfortable or shy, or to make them feel comfortable and special. So then, it's just you just get an atmosphere of people of non-judgment, acceptance, and then it's positivity and then love. I have to say, it really is infectious. So it's that kind of human experience is meaningful, and people remember it because they're not intoxicated. I think that's...
The more you talk about it, the more the unique phrases, like, what were they called? Hugging angels?
Yeah.
That's awesome. The more it's every little detail seems like it's been thought out, so that someone that invests the time and the energy and getting up, they really do leave with almost a guaranteed this was an awesome experience type of a thing, versus when you go to a club, I feel like nothing is really thought out. Nothing is really intentional anymore when you go out at night. And then you've got the mix of alcohol in there, where then everything is kind of up for grabs as far as what's going to happen at the end of the night. So I think that's so smart. Now, as far as, like I was saying, doubling attendance, now you've gotten some really big press, and you are a journalist?
No, I was writing, but now I'm doing this full time. As of next month, I'm going to be sort of heading up. I'm going to be the global word fairy.
Congratulations.
I'll be in charge of all the cities, like communications and PR and all that.
So what advice would you give for a young female entrepreneur that has an event coming up that's like this, where it's unique and they're going after a bigger purpose than just putting on an event? How do you get in front of the press?
Well, actually, to be honest, the press, response here for the launch was kind of it didn't go quite as we expected. The traditional way is to send out a press release, and I have to say it's pretty much just Shape that we said that wrote an article that we sent a press release to. The other ones just heard about it. I think in a mixture of ways from Facebook and hearsay about morning parties, and London had a lot of press and international press, so from there too. So in terms of marketing and promotion, there's lots of different, the traditional keeping people engaged on social media, and then obviously, communicating your values, and that it's forward thinking. It's not just about the event itself. You just really communicating that this is this is about you. This is not just about us. This is, it takes you to make the magic happen. So
really removing the ego from putting on the event, and even from the event itself, it's part of a bigger purpose, and leading with that. And I feel like that's another movement that's happening within the entrepreneurial community, is that we all are kind of thinking about this bigger thing, and removing the ego is so important in order for us to be successful and to really serve people to the best we can. And so there's a couple questions that are coming in the chat from at Miss_Renata. Renata, she's in events too. Now, just to clarify, the business model in this is that the London headquarters brings it into the different cities, and they put all the money up front and then collect the money, and then there's profit sharing with the city.
Yeah, no, it's going to be reviewed in the new year as each city grows. But as it stands at the moment, for the first couple of events, London puts up 50% of the money, and then the city in London share 50% of the profit. And then I think, like, going forward, London will be taking 30% of the profit, and putting up like less. The city will be putting up their own funds. So that's how it's going to work. Until they're going to take another stand. In the fall, at the end of the year, as all the cities get moving.
And then the event collects money through the attendees. You pay to attend the event. And then also, do you charge money for the vendors too? I mean, because there's people giving massages, there's a juice bar.
Right. Yeah, so what we offer for free is the massages. So, but the actual buying, the fresh smoothies and the juices and the coffee, that's to purchase separately. And then that's it. And then a code check. And I mean, in London, they've actually been, here too, we're getting lots of healthy product brands reaching out and wanting to collaborate or partner, or, and have a presence at the event. And at London, they've obviously been approached by lots of brands, but they have been having, occasionally they've been having goodie packs where the brand would pay them X amount to distribute like 500-600 of their product for free for the attendees. So that, but Samantha, the founder, is quite, I don't know if it's the word picky, but she doesn't want a huge brand presence. She doesn't want that distract from the experience.
I love that you bring that up, because that's an issue right now, and I've talked about this on podcasts in the past. What bugs me right now about events is that it leads with the swag bag, the idea that you show up and you get stuff from brands, and that irritates me, because I feel like the motive then to attend the event is to get the stuff versus have the experience. And I love that you lead with the experience first, and I feel like if you bring in, I don't know, it's just going to be an interesting process to see how you in New York City especially balance the idea of partnering with brands, because you're serving people by showing people that these are healthy, conscious type of companies that you align with, but at the same time you don't want to detract from the experience.
Right.
So I think that's interesting, and I want to make sure that we cover this. There's someone in Los Angeles, Ambition. Let me make sure that I get your Twitter handle ready. Right, Ambitionista LA. She's wondering when Morning Gloryville will be in Los Angeles, and I was thinking for sure that you guys would be in LA next.
Right. So yeah, there's been a lot of interest, people reaching out from LA. It's there's it might happen in I think like August probably. The next cities on the map. San Francisco is launching June 25th. Then after that, LA, Boston, Montreal, Canada, and Miami over here. That they're all on the map for, I don't know, I'd imagine like August, September, but it's not confirmed yet. But yeah, there've been all these people have reached out to London HQ, which is actually really humbling for us, and as a team and Morning Glory. All these people have reached out and not even been to one of the events, but just really recognize the importance and beauty of bringing and want to bring it to their own city. So, but yeah, LA is happening definitely within the next few months.
Very cool. Now, is this a company that's been venture backed in any way? I mean, is this something that Samantha totally bootstrapped on her own and got started, and it's just kind of expanding organically?
Yeah, it's something that she started on her own with Nico, and there are plenty of investors interested. There was just an investment round completed recently, so that's helping with this whole global expansion, of course.
That makes sense.
So yeah, that's where we're at. And we've got plenty of ideas and avenues we're exploring for scaling it, and for like a long-term growth vision from a business point of view.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be really interesting to see what you guys do with it, because I feel like because it is part of this bigger movement, I feel like there's so many different ways and so many different directions you could take it in. So it'll be interesting to see if you stay really specific and keep with just the morning stuff, or if you go into other events. Anyway, I'm really excited to keep following you, Annie. Now, is there any advice that you want to leave young female entrepreneurs with, either around the holistic point of how we are forming businesses and what types of products we're putting out into the world, or maybe even around event production?
Right. Well, around event production, I think, as I touched on earlier, it's just really about, I think, thinking. Was a brilliant founder, Sam, does. She's a big thinker. So keep thinking big, dreaming big, and getting a really good, one of the passionate, skilled, knowledgeable, great team behind you, and really just that if there's always going to be other people doing a similar thing in competition, but really just keep reinventing it, finding new ways to be creative and just to follow your vision. And in terms of health products, all I can say is the kind of ones that we obviously are attracted to, ones that have like-minded values. So our values are that inclusivity and transparency. So just keeping all of that consistent, I think, would just help towards long-term success and sustainability. So I think.
Nice. Well, and those are both things that I can definitely appreciate. I love the idea of having the big vision, sticking with the vision, but at the same time not being afraid of evolving and making sure that you're trying new things and really trying to see what works, especially since you guys are you're still, it's been a year that morning gloryville.com or the event has even been around. So I think that's just very exciting to follow everything. So Annie, where can people find out more about the global movement as well as New York City?
Well, at the moment, we're on the socials on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. But we're actually in the process of building our global, because London has a website just for London, and we're in the process of building our global website. So at the moment, I have to direct you to Facebook, and you type in Morning Gloryville and the city. Same goes for Twitter. and Instagram, most cities have got going. So watch the space for the
I liked your Facebook page too, because it's so inspiring. Again, it's not just about promoting the event; it's about promoting the lifestyle and the movement versus just saying, "Come here next month," that type of a thing. So I really appreciate that. So Annie, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you,
and best of luck with the event next week. Hopefully, we'll still stay in touch with you and see how it's going.
Great. Thanks so much, Jen.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, everyone. So you're just watching Annie from morninggloryville.com. Thank you so much to her for joining us. I'm really excited to just see what happens with all of this and where the bigger movement goes. But anyway, so you've been watching Wifey Chat Live, the live show that happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I've been your host, Jennifer Dono. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/YF Entrepreneur. That's where all of the replays head up. We're also on iTunes in both audio and video formats. So you can take us to the gym if you want to go still to the gym instead of the morning dance parties. And of course, make sure that you sign up for our mailing list at wifey.me/mail. But thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic week.